Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Generalist. I'm your host, Jack Gutman, and today I have Cecilia. How's it going today?
It's going good. We have good weather for once in the Netherlands, so I am pretty excited.
Awesome. Yeah, the weather is good here too. Who are you? What do you do to the viewer?
My name is Sisilia Nedyalkova. I am from Bulgaria, and I'm a 3D environment artist.
Cool.
I graduated university about 3 years ago, and I've been working ever since.
Okay, so right from graduation, you jumped and you start working.
Yeah.
What brought you to environment art?
Well, initially, actually, I wanted to be a concept artist. Like every artist, they just draw.
Mm.
And the study I did was very general, so we were able to learn a little bit of everything. So my first year even had programming, which I failed 3 times.
That's how you chose
Not much,
environment art.
of course, because programming, right?
Yeah.
But I started as 2D. Realized that I'm not particularly good at it. Like, I could just look at a picture and try to replicate it, but that's not good enough to be a concept artist, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we had a 3D course about end of the first year, and I realized how much easier it was for me because I always struggled with perspective, no matter how much I tried to apply perspective.
Mm.
And well, 3D comes with perspective included, right? So
True,
like
yeah.
it's much easier to create something that you imagine in your head in 3D space, and you
Mm.
can quite quickly test things if they look good.
Yeah.
So after my first course, I was like, oh, this is actually quite fun. I don't know anything about it. I'm willing to throw myself in the deep and just stick with it because it seemed more intuitive for me as a person.
Yeah, I think a lot of concept artists also like made the switch over the last like 10 years, I would say, to be more familiar with Blender and more 3D, right?
Yeah, that's true. Actually, like a lot of people use it to like make a base model so that they can like go over them. It's faster to develop
Oh yeah.
art.
Like there's this it's actually inspired the podcast. They're called Learn Squared. They're a school
Mhm.
and they teach mainly concept art stuff, and they have like, in my opinion, one of the best courses on environment art, just because like
Oh.
they're just bunch of like concept artists that made it into um, 3D modeling, of course, because of the industry changing, and they teach like such core design values. And this is not I'm not sponsored by them. I'm not even affiliated with them, like nothing. But I think like it's interesting how they made the switch, because what you said, right? Perspective is easier to show. Maybe it's even easier to conceptualize things. Like I even worked with an art director who did pixel art, right?
Hmm.
And all of their pixel art were based on an isometric model that they made eventually, which then they turned into pixel art. It's that
Oh,
consistency.
it makes sense. It's easier to block out, and you can test out much quicker than trying to draw it because then you have to sort of like get the perspective right. So it's very easy to concept that way. I understand that. It makes
Yeah,
sense.
I think like even if you brought like Leonardo da Vinci, whatever, like back to life, and he saw what we have for tools, you'd be like, all right, like cool, just use it. It's amazing, 3D in that sense. So okay, back to you, environment art, right? Why environment art? What struck?
Well, I found props boring.
Aha.
The shortest answer. No,
Cool.
it's like props are fun, but at some point you want more.
Mm.
So when I started trying to do environment art, I realized I really enjoyed the process of designing the scenes and
Mm.
as well making sure that they feel alive. Like this feeling of looking something that used to
Yeah.
be static and now is moving and is like creating this feeling that you're trying to communicate is like a
Mm.
different type of experience, like you're making it come alive and
It,
that's the fun part of it.
it seems that the concept artist inside of you never died.
I don't know about that.
Like you just kept on like chasing telling story through a cohesive world, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I would say so.
What is cohesion in environment art for you? What does it mean?
Oh, what does it mean? Um, to me, it means consistency and style first of all,
Mm-hmm.
consistency of lighting. So as well, like it has to make sense. Like I at some point had like this little workshop I was teaching in my university, and I would always just repeat, ask yourself the WH questions. So who lived here? Why did they live there? What did they do?
Mm-hmm.
Who were they? So when you are able to answer those simple questions, you know what you're building.
Okay.
So if you would have like this room at the moment, if it was pristine, that's a showroom here at IKEA,
Yeah.
right? But like somebody is actually living there. So you have to make it feel lived in. And that is an important consistency to the story, because environmental art always, well, not always, but most of the time tells a story, right?
Hey, before we continue this conversation, I just want to put a brief word on how to support this podcast. This show is for free and it should remain like that. If you ever have found it useful and you want to support its production, you have 3 direct options. The first one is YouTube memberships. When you become a member, you get access to 3 episodes in advance, plus some member badges. Just a way to give back. This, in my opinion, is like the best package for something that doesn't require too much maintenance from me. Second option is a direct donation, if you like, a one-time or monthly on my PayPal account. And the third option, which is my favorite, is purchasing one of the courses that I recommend to you. Now, no one has really time to go through all the courses, but thankfully, I have. So I completed a whole list of the best resources out there for you. And when you decide to purchase a course and learn more and advance in your generalist journey, I'll get a share from your purchase. This is my favorite way of supporting this podcast because it will guarantee that you will learn something new, which is exactly the sentiment I try to share on this podcast. Learn, learn, learn. However, it's all up to you, and this remains for free. Now back to the conversation. Okay, here's a question for a person who is purely technical, right? Like we're talking about conceptual or artistic principles, right? For a technical person, or when they think about this technically, they're like, I can't seem to be able to touch this. Like I can't get grasp of this. So when you say things like who lived here, or what are like the tangibles, right? Beyond the arts, what is the common sense?
Well, common sense is not very common. I've recently learned that is a thing. Like, what, only 20% of people actually have common sense. So
Yep.
you have to be able to reach a logical conclusion. So a logical conclusion would be, you enter this room. Who do you think it lives here? You look, you will always make your own opinion about it. Even when you meet somebody,
All right.
you already get like an opinion about them. You have set in stone, like this person is nice, or this person is not very clean because their shoes are dirty. You always make some kind of
First impression.
opinion.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's about first impressions. And then if you're a technical person, most of the time you will be, I don't know, working on VFX maybe. Like, it's raining. Why is it raining? What kind of location is this? It's like these kind of questions, like you have to question what it is if you want it to feel real. Because when people look at it, if it feels off, it's probably because they didn't ask those questions and filled in those gaps. But when those questions get answered, the environment, people don't usually question, they don't even think about it because it feels complete. So that's usually what kind of works.
It's interesting that you have to go so much into like first impression. That means you have to be so much in touch with aesthetics. Like you have to be in a way you have to have a lot of soft skills and met a lot of people with, or at least have the skill to research the characters that you're trying to represent their environment of. I think one of the most environment pieces I've seen is like a room with like a room of a gamer or something. It's like very popular in art session. I forgot exactly what the name is of that environment, but it's just an artist who made a room of a geeky person. And I think that is like for people who are looking for jobs that are just making this like typical stylized environment, right? With the stylized grass and it's at day and you see those wind whatever thingies, the effects. They just copy. They are copycats, right? What would you advise someone who's stuck in that loop?
Well, look, everybody learns by copying.
True.
The greats learn from their teachers by copying their work. But at certain points, you need to take that and translate it into something else. So I, as a student, copied concept art constantly until I developed my skills. I would look at the people that inspired me the most and I tried to replicate their skills as much as I could. And at a certain point, I realized that I was just, making it one to one, which is, well, not as fun, right? Like
Mm.
when you're making something one to one, you are learning how to make it, but you're not learning the basis, the important things that you need to reapply. So
You're
it's
not asking
reapplying
the
skill.
questions. You're like just replicating the end result, right?
Exactly. So I realized that at some point I should pick a different prop that is not the same prop because you always start with a prop. You have to polish set skills. You
Okay.
shouldn't dive into environments immediately. No, 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 no. Don't do
No,
that.
no, no. Wait a sec.
Don't do that. That it gets overwhelming very quickly. And it's very easy to make a mediocre environment if your skills are not polished. So what I used to do is I would take a prop that I really liked off Pinterest. I was like, okay, this feels cute.
Mm.
And then I would pick a style I want to replicate it. So then I will find in that style every single reference I could about all the materials the prop was made. So if the prop had metal and wood, I would search for those specific references from different objects as well, not just one, and see, okay, this is the type of damage they have. This is the type of texturing they do. And you're like, okay, mental note, mental note, mental note. And then when you reapply it to something completely different,
Mm.
then you're able to translate it, apply it, and actually have the thought process of creating it. And then if you continue doing that, you can develop the style that they're working in without copying their work, and then seeing how it would function on other objects, which is very important because that's what happens when you work on a project, right? You have your polished product. Sometimes you don't get concept art. You get asked to make something, and then you have to be able to create it in the same style. And to be able to do that, you should be able to understand what the style is. So it's about dissecting how it's built and then making something else.
Dissecting is a really good word. Now, here's the thing: like for people who are interested in 3D, stylized 3D environments or whatever, like there is a fundamental to art that you need to have. Like it's such a generalist skill in a way. We talk about those things. We both know what the common sense of like what is a stylization. But for someone who's listening to this, probably maybe works in graphic design somewhere in a firm and wants to attempt to do this, they probably hear like all those concepts and they're like saying, all right, so I need to learn 3D. That is it. And it's like, yeah, but don't be afraid to learn like art fundamentals because they will come around eventually. What is your resource when it comes to art fundamentals, and how do you practice?
I don't know. Like, I just discovered those fundamentals on my own, completely randomly, if I have to be honest.
Cool.
I just looked at what other people did and I was like, okay, this seems like it makes sense. Okay, this seems good. These
Yeah.
people must know what they're talking about. I remember having basic art fundamentals at uni that they just talked about, like in general, what it is. But every person's experience is different. Some people just have the feeling of doing it. Like they have a really good gut feeling of like what looks good. They have the eye.
Mm.
And some people are just really good technically, right? And
Yeah.
then those two people meet and they're like, oh my God, you're a magician. How are you making these raindrops fall? And it's so
Yeah.
realistic and good.
Yeah.
And then you have the other people that is like, oh my God, how did you figure out these colors? It's great. And you're like, it's color theory.
It's
And so you have all
intuition.
kinds
Yeah.
of people. Yeah, it's intuition. Some people are really good technically. Some people are just very good into intuition. And sometimes those people work together and that's fine. And both can be learned. Just
Yeah.
takes time.
I mean, through experience, I saw that you could totally just dissect other people's work, and maybe a little bit of reading helps and like mentality, but it's not pure mentality and philosophy, and you just picking up books and reading them cover to cover, right? It's more like if you're curious about it, even if it doesn't come natural to you, because like drawing was never something came natural to me. Some people are born with it. They're like, oh yeah, totally. Like I can draw and I can draw you right now on paper, right?
Yeah.
I was never like that, so I had to convince myself to go out of the mentality of like it's not a talent, right? Like of course, if you're 2 meters tall, you can play basketball super easily. That's talent. But then there's okay. Okay.
My cousin is 2 meters tall and he cannot play basketball. So, like,
Well, in a way, like,
it's not
yeah,
for
you're right.
everybody.
You're right. You're probably more gifted for it, I guess.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, but like you could totally learn anything, and it's important for people to understand. Like, yeah, there is a lot of gifted people in tech or in logic or in art. They think on the right side of the brain or whatever, but everything is kind of teachable. Everything you could practice if that's what you want to do. Like, don't go into that mentality of like, oh no, I'm not that person. And it's like, it's you kind of just need that role model in a way that not just shows you. I don't know if you ever had a mentor like that just shows you how they do it instead of like going to your level, right? And showing you the way that way. Have you ever had a person where you're like, oh, they're amazing, I will never be like that?
Well, of course.
Yeah.
On top of my head, it would be Orb. That is the god of stylized. I bow down. Um, Jasmine, she's amazing. I looked at her work very often when she was becoming very popular on ArtStation while I was a student. It's like, I want to be like that. I think his name is Larry Kummer. He's French. I really loved his portfolio. The colors, how bright it was.
Yeah.
Those were like probably the top 3 people that I would often like look at their stuff and be like, this is amazing. I would like to be able to do what they're doing at some point. Like, they were the inspiration, and I would like spend time trying to like understand what they did.
Yeah.
I can't think of anybody else at the moment.
But you probably felt like it's the goal, right? But you never saw like a breakdown of where they came from, what type of hard work that they've been through. So for me, I also was exactly like you, right? I looked at Jasmine's work, I was like, that's exactly what I want to do. But there was never like this step by step plan because I only was glorifying like the end result until I talked to her on the podcast. That I was like, oh, okay, so a little bit of time management, a little bit of like a lot of passion, right? And start with something small because she mentioned like I started with making sushi, you know, but you don't see that. You see that final result, and you're like, they were born for this.
A lot of work goes into even the sushi that like somebody would make, right? So it makes sense, but a lot of people tend to compare themselves a lot. One thing I really noticed when I was in uni was that a lot of people would go on ArtStation and they were like, oh my God, these people are so amazing. I would never be able to be like them. Oh, my work is not good enough to post on ArtStation. But the way I was looking at it, oh my God, that's the goal. Look, get inspired, do that, work your ass off, study. That's the goal. You're looking at it and you're angry how good they are, and you want to be that good as well. You're getting better out of spite, man. Like you want to be that. So it's like a completely different mentality. I even had somebody in my uni be like, yeah, your work is not good enough to post on ArtStation. I was like, what do you mean? I post. That's what I could do right now. I will post the next thing when I get better. Like these kind of weird mentalities that your work is never good enough. It's like that's what you can do in that moment. And you should be proud of it because that is your skill at the moment. When you can do something better, you post it and don't compare yourself because everybody takes different time to get there.
Such an ignorant thing to say. What a brick. Like science, right? Like science.
Oh, I had worse.
You had worse? Okay.
But
like
worse.
The idea of science is like the latest form of what we know is right now, right? Like what we know about space. Imagine if every scientist was like, oh, I'm not sure, I'm not good enough. I'm not sure if I should post this or whatever. But that's like the whole point. You're gonna get feedback. You're gonna get people who are gonna tell you, yo, the topology sucks. Like work on your topology or whatever. But that discourse actually like what might inspire you to go forward or might tell you kind of like how you can improve or what is wrong with the piece, right?
Yeah. That's true.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about fake recruiters.
Sorry, what did you say?
Fake recruiters,
Oh,
fake
fake
agents.
recruiters. Yeah, yeah.
You keep getting hit on LinkedIn. What is your message to them?
No, not really. Only a couple of times I've had, but you're like, okay, like please don't. Like, why are you contacting me? This is like, it feels odd. You read the message and you're like, is this written with ChatGPT? You know, like you're like, nobody writes like that, right?
No
Like,
one
and
talks
then
like that.
and they're like, yeah, can I have your phone number and email? I was like,
Oh wow,
oh, that doesn't sound right.
wow,
And or you have just people that are like, you want to work for AI, and I'm like, no, please don't contact me again. It's
wow.
like, no, thank you. I'd rather be jobless than work for AI. And that's on a stance I stay on. I'd rather work in a supermarket. There's nothing wrong with working in a supermarket
No,
than do AI. No
yeah.
matter. Like that is my hill that I'm willing to die on. I will never do that.
It's also like hygiene to like, okay, what's the purpose of working for an AI? And it's like, yeah, so they can make money off of people that used to have jobs, and it's like your role as a environment artist or as an artist is not to encourage that, even if they pay you, because you're not pooping in the place you eat, and right, in a
Yeah.
way.
Yeah,
I
that's
have
true.
to censor the words. Yeah, so I've seen some of your work on ArtStation. There was some interesting challenges that you made. What do you think? What's your like? I know you mentioned spite. Like out of spite, you wanna. I love that mentality. But like, is that same thing going into challenges?
Um, well, spite is a strong word because like there's no really translation for the word I want to use in my
Mm,
own language. It's called inat,
in
which
that.
it's basically it's out of spite. You're purposely doing it so you're better than yourself. Like
Mm,
you're stubborn. It's these all encompassing words that you could use as synonyms in any shape or form that you can use those words
yeah.
combined in one big thing. So like you're doing it out of spite because that's the only way I can say it
Mm,
to get better for
mm,
yourself. So you're trying to be better like every single day just because you don't want to be worse than yourself yesterday. It's an
mm.
odd way to explain it, but I guess so. Like when I did the challenge, the material challenge, I don't think I'm a good material artist. I was like, I don't know much about materials. I will
Okay.
use it as a learning experience, and I'm trying to gonna do my best I can. And hey, it's fun. I've never done one of these, so why not?
Wow.
That was the whole mentality behind it, if I have to be honest. And then I saw other people making stuff. I was like, my shit has to be better because I'm competitive as hell.
uh,
I was like, no, this is gonna be better. And then I updated it and fixed them, and
wow.
it was the whole thing. Like,
Wow, it's such a hard mentality to get into. Like, it's
yeah.
good that you even had a word for it. Like, I feel like I always say this: languages are like vocal problem solving, and the more languages you know, the more tools you have in your kit. And so, like that word that you couldn't explain right now, right? And you were trying to explain within 2 minutes. If I had that in my the background of my head or in my subconscious, right? Like driving my passion, I would have totally seen myself going on challenges, right? And just talking to you, I'm getting inspired by just like the idea of like out of spite, I'll be better, right? Like this stubbornness, this tenacity. It's just there's something about it that's so like charged with emotions at the same time that I think I felt like that in 2024. It's because I lost my daily job, and then just out of stubbornness I was like, I'm gonna, you know what, I'm just gonna learn from now on, and I will stream my learning, and then I will run a podcast as well. And this is how this whole thing started, just out of pure stubbornness. And it's a bit of anger, right? There's some anger there and frustration a little bit, which is a better factor, I feel like, than desperation.
Well, like a lot of people get they struggle with motivation, right? Because
Hmm.
like how the industry is at the moment, or just like procrastination. I don't know, childhood trauma. Everybody goes through something,
Yeah,
right?
true.
And I feel like, and this is my personal opinion, people don't really use their anger correctly. You
Hmm.
can use your anger to push yourself to be better. Like if yesterday you skipped on doing your tasks, it's like, ugh, I didn't do my task. I'm angry at myself. I'm going to do extra hard tomorrow because why did I do that?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people get so stuck of like being hopeless that they don't use the rest of their emotions. And anger is actually not a bad emotion because anger teaches you what you don't agree with or what you find as a problem. It's basically an indicator of like, hey, you went through my boundary, or oh, I didn't like that. It's a reaction to something that has happened, and you should use said feelings because humans are creatures of emotion and stuff. Might as well use it to get better at what you're doing instead of like feeling sad, because sadness is an emotion. I'm not gonna devaluate that, of course, but sadness at this moment is not making your portfolio better, right? So we push for the emotion that helps us get better at what we want to do, because in the end, that's what matters, right?
Yeah, but I wonder if suppressing sadness just to seek like a better portfolio would help, but at the same time, like sadness alone and feeling sad alone can lead to you feeling like there is no solution, and sometimes the only solution is results in terms of portfolio. So I wonder how one can override the sadness or allows themselves to be sad, but not too much that, it becomes a desperation thing.
Well, look, I have a certain mentality about it. You're allowed to feel sad and complain about it for 15 minutes after the thing happens. And afterwards, you have to focus on, okay, what are the solutions?
Okay.
Because you complaining and being sad for months on end is not really doing you much, right?
It's unproductive, yeah.
It's unproductive. So you should get those feelings out. I'm not saying like keep them away because that's not productive. Actually, you should go through them so that you can relieve your nervous system and then be like, okay, these are the things I need to do.
Yeah.
This is the logical way that I at the moment can think of. Let me do it. And I'll do it out of spite because that is a good emotion to push yourself.
I love it. I always struggled with that exact same problem, right? Like this desperation, not desperation, but like feeling like there is no solution, or it will never get there, or it's actually the result of not being able to feel the sadness. Like if you suppressed it at the moment that you were supposed to feel it, then it's just lingering there the whole time, and you can't focus on what are the steps because you still are stuck in that emotion that you should have felt like a month ago or whatever. Right? Yep. And then you have the pressure of like, I gotta find a job. And then what you do is that you keep looking for jobs, but your portfolio's not getting better. And it's like, if your portfolio does not get better, you will less likely find a job. Right? Yep. And that loop of like, it's such a sad loop, honestly. And I see a lot of artists still struggle with this. And it's like, if your goal is love and all what you do is you want to get laid, it's like you're probably not gonna find love. But if your goal is to find yourself and be passionate about the things that you're passionate about, and love might come closer to you. Same thing with jobs, honestly. Like if you fall in love with the craft, it will show in your portfolio. Like this, what we mentioned of like making a room feel like someone of that certain character. Okay, my English is bad.
No, it's not. Caricature? Characteristic?
Characteristic. Thank you.
There we go.
Yeah, it shows in your work, and then eventually the side effect of that is that you will get jobs. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, passion is important, I think, because the industry is so all over the place that your passion is the thing that's going to keep you there, and your passion is the thing is going to push you to learn more. So a lot of people, I feel like, go into the game industry due to hobby, not because they're passionate and they may be passionate, but they're passionate for games, not for the development of games.
Oh, yeah.
I very often see as like ex-classmates of mine, or when I went to my university to have a talk, you could see it. And I think that's where the differentiation is. Like,
Hmm.
is art your hobby, or is art something that you want to pursue your whole life? Because you will have different energy that you want to put into both things. Hobbies are for relaxing. If you every day have to be creative, would that burn you out? Would you have the tenacity to continue pushing yourself and learning, because the industry is ever changing? It's a young industry and it's going to continue changing.
Mm.
We don't know where it's going to go, but you have to push yourself. So I forgot what your question
No, no, no. I
was.
think you're.
Sorry.
It's a good tangent. I really like where you went with it because like I just was watching a stream of a friend of mine who was making his own game on the side, right? I mean, he's making good money from it, but at the same time, he doesn't. It's not his main job, right? His main job is something else. He does web development, and he has signed like like Wednesday, Friday. I had him on the podcast before you, by the way,
Oh,
so he
okay.
will be on Mudaship. Shout out. But anyway, like I was just watching his stream because he streams his development, and you could see how happy he is just putting the voice acting lines into his game. And I was like, oh my god, there's so much talk in the industry about like pay and like people getting laid off and so much like job focused jargon. And
Yep.
when I saw him just like laughing and smiling at the text that he just like not the voice acting text that is being spoken in the game, and I'm like, that is what it is about. It is about creating an experience, and if you enjoy that, you're in it for the long run. But if what you enjoy about it is that you get to sit on your ass, probably work remotely, and get a paycheck by the end of the day, not caring what you're creating, I don't know, man. And I'm not blaming the victims. I'm just like, I don't know. Maybe it's not for you.
Well, it's about energy, and I'll explain it this way. While you were just talking about your friend,
Mm,
the smile on your face and the joy in your like speech is noticeable.
mm,
So like you can tell when somebody's being authentic and they're enjoying themselves when they're doing something. You can see them light up. It's the little glimmer in the eye.
mm.
And usually I think I don't have enough experience to back this up. I think that people that have that glimmer in their eye and the you get happy just listening to
Yeah,
them speak.
yeah,
You know that these people just live, breathe everything what they're doing because it brings them so much joy. And if something doesn't bring you joy, it's never too late to switch out of it, right? Because there are people that at their 50s is when they started painting and became very big painters, right?
yeah,
Everybody's so stuck up like, oh, I'm wasting time. Maybe it wasn't for you. You spend that time, you figured yourself out, you figured out what you're not ready to do. You switch to something else, and that's totally fine. But I feel like a lot of artists are too stubborn in the wrong way. And they're like, no, I will do it, even though if it's like bringing me all the negative emotions and depression and this and
oh
that.
yeah,
And
I know what you mean.
and
Yeah,
that's not healthy,
yeah,
because in the end we have to think about what is healthy for you as well, like the struggling artist or like burning yourself out and working yourself to the bone. Those are not good things. And our industry is so known for like people like not sleeping enough or overworking themselves. That is not a good thing, and a lot of
yeah.
people using it as bragging rights, which is very
Stupid.
concerning.
Yeah, yeah. It's also toxic masculinity a lot of times. Like, well, I work 2 weeks. In 1 week, I beat your ass, and it's like, all right, chill, bro. Like, it's fine. Yeah,
Okay.
just chill. It's okay. You gotta work your ass off and push and push, and it's like a lot of
Wake
people.
up 5 in the morning. You go to the gym and then you
You
work. I was like,
work.
what? What?
And they themselves, they're just making videos, and it's like I just try to imagine their day, and it's like you're not doing any of this shit. You're reading a script from ChatGPT. I can
Oh,
see your eyes squint.
probably.
Yeah, but like the passion part, right? Like also wasting time part. It's such an interesting conversation because like man, there's so much advice in the beginning when you don't know what you want to do, right? You don't know. You started in concept art. Look at you now. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, I was no concept artist, by the way. I was able to draw a little bit. That's what I wanted to do. Don't even consider me being one.
but I bet like you were ready to put a lot of hours in it, right?
Yeah.
Because you thought that was the goal. And
Yeah.
if you had the money, you might even have hired a mentor to like teach you properly and
Yeah.
paid 10,000 of euros if you had like €1,000,000 or whatever, right? Because like
Yeah.
you're so passionate, you're like, I'm gonna do this. The problem is like, imagine that specialist, the concept artist, telling you, why are you wasting your time in 3D? Like, don't put time into 3D, right? Might be one of the advice a specialist would give you. But then, like, imagine yourself forcing yourself into not exploring 3D and forcing yourself to get into perspective and study and blah, 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 right? All things you did not enjoy out of stubbornness. And then what you realize is that you're just not enjoying this. It's just pain. I did that with 3D animation because I got advice like, don't waste your time, Jack, with engines and like real time stuff. This is not important, right? Like effects, why are you wasting your time there, man? Just focus on the 3D animations. And I just felt so, oh, like I hated it in a way. I don't know if that happened to you.
Well, I have this saying, and I've been repeating it a lot lately, and I know that this like works because like when I was talking to students about it, and they were like, okay, actually, you could see the eureka moment in their head, right? Like
Yeah.
the cogs were turning, and you were like, oh, wait a minute, like there's a point in that. It's like, don't ask a homeless person how to be a millionaire.
Uh-huh.
So the person that gave you feedback, or did you want to be in their position? Were they experienced enough to give you that feedback? You should take it with a grain of salt enough because everybody's has a different experience. You may have somebody that after uni immediately got a job, their feedback to you that you have been struggling to get said job, maybe not the same. You could have somebody that got a job after their internship and their only feedback would be, well, lol, do an internship, get a job that way, but you're not in uni anymore. So every single thing that any person tells you, you have to take it with a grain of salt. Then ask yourself, well, do I want to be like that person? Do they have similar experience to me? Because if somebody was asking me as an environment artist, well, how do I become like you? I may have a completely different experience and give them one form of feedback than, for example, Jasmine has given. I watched the podcast; it was very good.
Thank you.
It would be very different, right? So, like, you have to find somebody that is more or less in a similar situation that has the job that you want and listen to them. Not, I had people in my study that told me, hey, you will never make it in the game industry because you don't play games.
What?
Yeah.
No,
And
you
I'm
don't
like,
play
I
games?
took it to heart.
Just kidding.
No, I now a bit, but like, I didn't play any games at the time.
I'm sorry, but like the people who like literally made the road, paved the road. You think they played games? You know what I mean? Like it's a perspective. It's if anything, that person has a virgin eye on things and can spot things that maybe your target group will never be able to spot, especially newer target groups that you're trying to aim for, and can tell you, hey, oh, this is supposed to be a map. Oh, I thought it was like a button that will, upgrade my character. No one else will tell you that because they're gamers, right? Like they play
Yeah, they know
games their
what
whole
to
time.
look for.
If anything, it's a perspective. It's a unique one, even.
So you have all kinds of people. Like when I was a student my first year, I seeked out people to give me feedback because at uni, teachers and other students are like, "Oh yeah, your portfolio is great, and you have no problem." Haha. I sent my portfolio to a professional. I got pooped on so hard. I got pooped on so hard. I almost quit. I cried for 2 weeks,
Oh.
and then I sat my butt down and I started working my stuff. Because even though I shout out to the person that did it, very amazing person, put all the time in the world. It was critical, which I needed because a lot of people really believe that their work is amazing and they don't put a mirror to themselves. He did tell me everything that was wrong, which was very hard to hear.
Yeah.
But the second part of the email was every single resource I needed to develop myself.
What? Really? They took the time
Yes.
and told
They
you like,
took,
for this skill you need this video or whatever.
yes, provided
Wow.
me a couple of videos, and then I cried my ass out for 2 weeks, almost quit the study. Then I was like, okay, I'm done being sad.
Yeah.
Time to work.
Yep.
I am gonna do better. I'll make a nice portfolio piece and send it back to him
Hell yeah.
and get shat on again. Sorry, pooped on.
It's okay.
So that you can actually learn, because feedback is so important. And the moment a person can detach from the ego, because every artist is connected to their art because it's part of the ego,
Yeah.
and you can look at the thing that you're making as a product, you will grow 100 times faster. Because that's something I learned to do in my after my first year at uni, after I provided my portfolio for feedback. Because initially you were like, oh, this is my art, this is so precious to me. But
Okay.
you're making it for a product in the end.
Yes.
Game is a product. You cannot feel such emotional connection to something you're making.
Yeah.
Yes, you should feel excited, obviously. I'm not saying detach completely, but view it as a product. Would your art be downloaded if you put it on Steam? Right now, if your work was on Steam, would you buy it? If you say no, it's not good enough.
Okay, all right.
Because you are the target audience,
Yeah.
right? Like if you go on Steam
Yeah.
right now and your portfolio is on there and it's a product that somebody will buy, would they buy it?
Yeah, I think it's also subjective, right? Because like you could have a certain opinion on things, and yet like another art director might see it completely differently and be like, "No, shut your mouth. We gotta do it this way." And
Yeah.
but a lot of artists actually take it like very personal in the sense of like, "Oh no, I don't feel myself in this art or whatever." But here's where ownership is an amazing thing at a job. It's like they when you get hired and you have interviews or whatever, they want to see that you will take ownership, because they don't want a task monkey.
Yeah.
They want they want a monkey that
All
can like
depends.
kind of realize a little bit task monkey, of course. But the last thing you want, especially in a small studio, is that you're people gonna just run after you and ask you where you are, and hey, or like one task that would take 4 questions until it gets done. Or sometimes they just want to tell you, this is the art direction, we trust your take on this, right? And that's where you can put a bit of yourself in it,
Yeah.
but in the end it's not yours, and you should just accept that it's not yours.
Yeah. Like feedback is the fastest way to grow. Like, as I said, first year, send my portfolio to a professional, got told exactly where I can improve, and I improved it. Because like you thinking as a junior or a media artist, receiving feedback that you know better than people that have 10, 15 years
Yeah.
of experience creating games, and you think that their feedback is not valuable, which those take every information you can from them and learn
Yeah.
because they know they've
Yeah.
experienced it, is ignorant. I think
Ignorant. Yeah.
it's very ignorant, because even getting feedback from somebody that's not in the game industry or just looked at art is valuable. Take it with a grain of salt, of course, but it's still valuable because you may have looked at the thing for too long, for example, and then they see something, they're like, oh shit, that I should definitely fix that. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, just having this idea of like, I might be wrong, or I'm open to what they are gonna tell me. These are all soft skills, I feel, that
Yeah.
determine if you're hireable or not hireable. This is why a lot of people get super annoyed, those with amazing skills, right? Amazing portfolio pieces. They get so offended when a peer of them, right, with less skills, maybe, right, who doesn't understand a certain shader or how it works or whatever, when they get the job, because they're like, I am way better than them, right? Which is a narcissist way to look at things. No
Yeah.
wonder they're not
It's
hireable, right? But the,
yeah.
the issue here is when there was an art test, right, for that job, did you listen to their art direction, or did you just completely like ignored it because you felt like, I have authorship in this, right? Because like, if they're not, the thing about artists is that they're not gonna tell you what the game is, and they're not gonna tell you what the art direction is either, because this is all confidential. They will give you specific directions, and if you don't follow those directions, it's really gonna determine if you are hireable or not. So I get it. People are practiced in a certain way, right? They got taught in a certain way. This is how you do the grass, you know. don't talk to me about other ways to make the grass. You're not an environment artist, right? Or you're not an effects artist. I got taught from people who worked at Riot. And it's like, yeah, but this game is not Riot. You know what I mean? Have you ever encountered things like this? I don't know if it's common in environment art.
I think it's not just environment art that we should be looking at for this kind of stuff. I think just in general, people, because like I'm one of the opinion that like your portfolio is going to get you the interview, but it's not going to get you the job. Your communication skills are going to get you the job. So if your portfolio is a 10 out of a 10, but your communication skills are 2 out of a 10, they're going to look at you as a 2 out of a 10 because communication skills are like the core thing. Like, are you going to be the drop of poison in the well? Are you going to make people like not want to work with you? Are you insufferable? I saw like a post on LinkedIn. Somebody was interviewing a person that had 10 years of experience, an artist, and they just had started the job, but they were interviewing because they were the ones that were placed to do it. And the person was like, "Oh, who are you to tell me yes, no, that you're interviewing me?" I'm like, okay.
What?
This was a written out post. I read it like 4 months ago. I don't remember where exactly, but I was like, yeah, this is a perfect example. Why the 10 out of 10 and 2 out of 10 thing comes from. Like your communication skills are the most important part because you could be an artist that is just developing yourself and you're not on the skill level. But if your communication is that good, they can mold you into whatever they need as long as they love being around you. So if you bring the vibe and you fit into the culture, you can be taught any skill as long as they have somebody to teach you.
Sometimes it's a different skill that they need, right? Like they kind of see your portfolio, they're like, okay, yeah, there is potential, but this person is so good at leadership. Like obviously, they remembered all of our names, right? Like this is simple. It's very simple. Like I don't want to say common sense because I'm very allergic to that word. But like it's simple thing to do in the sense of like in an interview, have a paper and a pen and like, all right, so what's the name of that person? Ray, okay, right? Like, all right, so what's the next one? Eve. All right, hey Eve, thank you so much. It's very simple, but it lasts long because they are gonna say, okay, yeah, he or she remembered the name, or it even if they don't specifically say that. It comes subconsciously. They're like, I feel connected to that person. But there's no one teaches you those things because everybody's just so focused on like skills, portfolio, and it's like, yeah, you can have the best portfolio in the world. The problem is if each piece took you a year.
Yeah, well, that's a completely different subject.
The system is completely different subject. Like, okay, let's say you have to hire someone, right? How do you spot if they took a year for a chair?
Well, I wouldn't be able to. I will have to ask them in the interview process. Like you don't know. You ask very often for the interviews that I have been in. I have been asked how long, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm just gonna speculate here, more or less. Take it plus minus, like how long it took. But I more or less know. I didn't write it down. Like, why would I? But they want to know a ballpark, how long it takes, and if the person tells me an hour, okay, well.
That's it. We're gonna close this, and I just want to ask you, like, if there's anything you would like to add, promote, or whatever.
Check out Stage Fright. That's the game I'm currently working on. I cannot tell you absolutely anything, but go check it on Steam. We have a teaser trailer, and just keep an eye.
Awesome.
That's the only thing I'm gonna say.
Okay, perfect. We'll leave that in the link in the description. Second question I like to ask before we go is like, what is the resource you would give yourself from the past right now? It could be a book, could be a video.
I actually don't know. Like, Stylized Station on YouTube used to be really good. I don't like it anymore.
Same.
But if somebody like really like you need to dig deep, there was some really good tutorials and they're explaining how to texture stylistically and stuff. But I guess the only feedback or thing I would say is like, go in art discords and get your art roasted. Get your art roasted. Ask for feedback. Just go in those discords and ask for feedback constantly when you're working on something,
Yeah,
and just improve.
definitely separate your ego and get roasted. All right, let's leave it
Yep.
at that. Thank you so much, Cecilia, and I will close it. Thank you all
Yep.
for watching, and like if you liked and dislike if you just didn't like it, and yeah, leave a comment about your favorite part in this. See you on the next one. Bye bye, everybody. All right, that's it. I really hope you enjoyed that one as much as I did. I really felt very energized after recording that one. I just would like to say thank you to everybody who are liking, commenting, and supporting the channel. For the 6 members, thank you very much. And if you consider to become a member, there is 3 episodes in advance, but not only you get 3 episodes in advance, you also get the full extended version of each and every episode. For example, this episode has 20 to 30 minutes that's been cut away. So I offer that for the members, the full extended version, no interruptions. And if that's something interested for you and you have maybe $2 to spare, I only get one because YouTube gets half of it. So yeah, consider doing that. It will really keep the channel flowing. For example, the 6 members are already paying for all my storage and some of the electricity I use for this podcast. So all the support just kind of goes into the channel again, and you know, if you have $2 to spare, why not? Otherwise, this will stay for free, and I thank each and every one of you. If you have a moment, you know, share it with a friend, leave a comment. You kind of saying to YouTube, this type of conversations, they really, really, really matter. Now, the good news is there's a lot of episodes for you to check out if you're done with that one. I've recorded almost 70 episodes now, and there's more coming. So yeah, make sure you check those out. Go to the channel and you will see way more episodes there. Alright everybody, I'll see you in the next one.